Welcome back! So, last time we went through making a vending machine and a switch that needs to be repaired. This time we are going to do a bit of a shop window. Okay? So, yay, that'll be fun, right? Okay. So, we are going to be playing with a couple things today. So, we're going to be playing with a shop actor, or a shop actor class. And then we're going to be playing with widgets. Okay? So, first things first, let's make a new widget. So we're going to go to User Interfaces. So right-click in our widgets, User Interfaces, Widget Blueprint. We're going to do this as Shop Screen or Shop Widget, or however you want to do it. I'm actually going to do it Shop Widget. Okay? And then we're going to open that up. Okay? And then our shop is going to have a vertical box. So under panels here, so panels, vertical box, right in the middle of the screen. Okay. And we want it to always be somewhat in the middle of the screen. So we are going to set our anchor point as close to middle as we can get it. There we go. Snap to middle. Perfect. So that way, no matter which size we scale our screen, that's always going to stay positioned to center as such. Okay. And that box is all we need for now. Maybe we'll do a image. So let's get a image here. And we'll scale out our image to be a border around. So we'll make it a little wider, a little wider. And we're actually going to move that up into the screen, so that will be our area. Again, we want it centered. There we go. And then under image, we are just going to come into its properties here, and with tint, we're going to click tint, and we are going to make it like a parchment color. Something like that. Okay. And then our vertical box, we're going to bring up just inside there. And then we are going to grab some, that's 50-50-50, so we want that. Okay, vertical box. It's pretty much centered. That seems to snap centered there. And no, where is, okay, this is off center, that's why. There we go, that's pretty much centered there. Or as close as we're going to bother getting it right now. And we want that to be -1Z, just so that we can see the outline of that vertical box on top. We now want to add a new text. So pull that on out. We're going to make our text color here a black, because black will show up well on our parchment colored paper. Bring that out, down, so if we type in here too much, it'll just fill out. And now in our text, so remember we've got to edit that over here, we are going to say, welcome to my store. What would you like to buy? And look, it doesn't quite wrap. So what we've got to do is in our panel over here, scroll on down and wrapping auto wrap text. And there we go. Perfect. And maybe we move what would you like to buy down to the next line. Which I can't remember how to do a break line in Unreal Engine. So we can cheat it by... Can we cheat it by adding a bunch of spaces? Apparently not. There is a break line command. I can't remember what it is. So we're just going to leave our text like that for now. So we're going to compile, save, and that's going to be that for right now. Okay. Now we are going to make a new folder here. Within the widgets, we're going to call this shop. We're going to drop our shop widget under there. Move here, just for organization's sake. And we are going to make something else. We are going to right click. Actually, let's duplicate here. Duplicate, and we are going to call this shop item. Okay. And in shop item, we are going to make a button. Let's pull that on out. And we are going to delete everything else. So we really didn't need to duplicate. We could have started from scratch, but you know, sometimes I get lazy like that. So we've got our button. And within our button, we want to add some text. And this text we are going to call item name. And we're going to put that in with some text, so we'll just call that oil for now, because that might be something we're buying. We are going to justify that over there. And we are going to shrink that size. And we're going to size to content for... we won't size to content quite yet. Okay. So oil is our first thing. Then we're going to, up here in search, put in pad spacer. That's what I want. Spacer. Come on. Let me pull out a spacer. There we go. And I want the spacer in my button. Get in the button. Why is the spacer... Widget can't accept additional children. Right, the button only wants one child unit, so we are going to have to put in a horizontal box. And a horizontal box will sit in our button, and then within the horizontal box we can put the spacer, we can put our name item, okay. Horizontal box, we are going to justify to the right there. Spacer, we might make a little bigger. Then we want to add more text. Within our box there. The spacer, how much padding do we want? Do we want like 50 padding? No, we want more like 10 padding. Something like that. And the second text block is going to be value. Or quantity. but I'm just going to keep that as value. And then we'll put this as some like default text of 5. We are then going to add yet another spacer, so we can just Control C, Control V, so paste. Drop that into our horizontal box. And then we want another text. And this other text is going to be 4. And we're going to say 4. And this way we're just making up our sentence here. And we're going to make this more like a 60. And maybe we should change our value and item name. There we go. 5 oil for so much whatever. Maybe we want to put a spacer in at the beginning. So copy, paste, drop our spacer in at the beginning. Give it like a 10 value. And then for all of our text, we want to have it sitting in the middle of that button bar. Okay, and this one here we called item name. And then we want to do another text. We'll call this currency name. And we'll say gears. And for each of the text box, we can hit the size to content so that it just fills for our word. So we'll drop that into currency name. We need another spacer there, so Control C, and then right click out here and paste. That spacer we're going to give a 5 value. And again, we want this to be center justified or center aligned. We're going to need another spacer, so copy and paste. That will also be a 5 value. And then one more text. And we'll call this one cost. And then we will put, say, 2. Okay, size to content, and drop that right in between those two spacers. And then middle justification. We can get 5 oil for 2 gears. Okay. Maybe that center spacer doesn't have to be 60, maybe it can be more like 10. 5 oil for 2 gears. Something like that. And then our button, we might want to do something more like that. And we can save that. Okay, so now we have our shop which is going to give us a list of items and our item. Okay. And I know I went through that fairly quickly building that up, but that's something you can rewatch a couple times to get in, or there's lots of good tutorials about dealing with widgets, so there's plenty of other to go and view. So now we're going to go to our NPC and we're going to make a a proper class shop. So we are going to do blueprint class, actor, class underscore shop. Okay. And then have we made... So we've made levels, we've made player, switched hazards. Okay, we have a structure that we've made previously. We just kept it in there. Okay, so we are going to do a new blueprint structure. And we are going to call this shop inventory item. Okay. We're going to open up our shop inventory item. We're going to minimize that. Then we're going to go open up our widgets shop widget. So that, oh, not shop widget, sorry. Shop item. Okay. So, our first value is value. So, this is value will be our first piece, and that will be a integer because we're always dealing with whole numbers here, or a float if we want to deal with partial numbers. Let's do a float. We'll add a new value. We will call this item name, because we have right here item name. Oh, item underscore name. Okay, and that will be of type text. Okay. Next, we are going to have the cost and then currency. So, cost, again, a float, and then new variable, currency. So, how much of what is it going to cost? And we are going to have that as a text. Okay. And we're going to save that. So, with our shop, to do NPC shop, we're going to now open up our class shop. We are going to add a new variable, call this shop inventory. And we are going to make that of type shop inventory item. And that's the structure that we just made. If it's not showing up, remember to go back to your shop inventory item and save it. Oh, and why did I minimize that? Okay, so shop inventory item is there. Or shop inventory is there. So now, in our shop inventory, we are going to click the array button. So, this is an array of items. So, in our shop inventory, alright, we now have to compile and save since it's an array. You're going to add a new item. Okay. Value of 5. Item name, oil. cost 1 currency gears. Okay, and this would let you add whatever you want to it later. Okay, so there we go. And then with our shop, we are going to do, as always, a box collision to trigger events. Get rid of the rest of this, and our box on component begin overlap. We are going to cast to player character. This should be getting very familiar after the last couple tutorials. Straighten that off. Set target. And that will be a reference to self. Straighten. Go there. Nope. Just make those nice and pretty. And then we are going to do a do once. And create widget. The widget we are going to create is a shop widget. And owning player is going to be get player controller. Just as so. Okay. And then, of course, we are going to add to viewport. Okay. So now that we've added the shop widget to blueport, or to viewport, shop blueprint widget to whatever, we've added a thing to the screen. Or that's what this part will do. Okay. We are now going to do a for each loop. And we're going to get this shop inventory array that we just made here. Straighten this off. Actually, we're going to separate these a bit so that we can comment them nicer afterwards. Okay. We are then going to, for each array element, we are going to create widget of shop item this time. And again, we want to get player controller so we can copy and paste or put it in how we usually do with a right click and start on typing. Okay. And then from our array element, we want to pull out and we want to break. Okay. And that's going to give us all those values. Okay. And there we go. So now let's go back to our shop item. Something that we forgot to do is set value, or to set all of these things, our value, our item name, blah, 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 all that, to variables. So we're going to do value is a variable, item name is a variable, cost is a variable, so just, again, ticking this little box here, and currency name is a variable. So compile, save. Now we can go back to our class shop. Again, I'm just tabbing between them because I have them open. If you do not, you can always open them from our browser here. Okay, So now that we got that set up, we want to set value and set item name, set cost, and set currency or currency name. Okay, and then we can just plug these each in. Oh, value, and then to text, a float converter. Oh, it's wanting a text reference. Okay. So we're going to have to make that to a bind. So let's change this out then. So we're going to go back to our shop item. We're going to go to our graph and start adding some variables. So we're going to go cost underscore text or var underscore costs for a variable. And we're just going to set these for each. So variable underscore cost, variable or var underscore item name, so these other units no longer have to be variables. So we'll change that out in a bit. Oh, not a new macro. That's not what I wanted to do. So new variable, variable underscore value, and var underscore currency name. And there we go. And then we can go back to our designer, and for each of those that we had previously set as a variable, we can just untick them, because we have to set them up a little differently. So instead of having them directly as an editable variable, we are going to go to each of these, and we're going to give it a bind. So we're going to bind that text, create binding, and then we are going to get, for our value text, we are going to pull out value, and remember, we have to put these to their particular types. So, value, we are going to just bring in as a float, cost is a float, and then the other two are text. Okay, so right now we're working on value, so we're just going to bring out value, get, and plug it into that return node. So this way, whenever the variable value, or variable their value, is changed, it will update that. That text box is permanently bound to that variable. Okay, we can do the same with all the rest now. So item name, over here bind, create binding, and we'll go item name, get, set it right in there. Back to our designer, cost, bind, create binding, and that is cost, get, plug that right in there. Stop accidentally making new variables. Done that a couple times in the last video. Straighten off that connection. Compile, save. And then our last one, currency name. Bind, create binding, and pull out our currency name, get, and plug that in. There we go. So compile, save. So that should be our shop item fixed now. We're going to go back to our class shop and pull off and get all those variables. So variable underscore, come on, shop item widget. So we might have to compile and save this. So variable, there we go. Get var cost. We want to set variable cost, set variable value, set variable currency name, and set variable item name. Okay, and we'll just pull these all apart now and start plugging them in. So value is our first one, then item name, then we can get our cost, and then we can get our currency name. Okay, and then we can just link these all up like so. And there we go. So a little bit of spaghetti right there. But hopefully we've all been following along so that we can get that. So what we've done is we've created a widget of our shop item type. We've plugged in all that info. And now we want to pull off this widget. And we want to add not to that. We want to how do we do a widget insert again? Set render. I am just looking for Nope, not adding a widget component. We want to, from here, get vertical box. Oh, so let's go back to our shop widget. So widgets, shop widget. Open that up. This vertical box needs to be a variable. So we're just going to call that vertical box variable. There we go. Is variable, compile, save. Now in our class shop, we can compile, save, and then pull off where we create the shop widget. Get vertical box. I thought we renamed it from vertical box 159. Apparently that wasn't fully saved. So we'll just pull off again and get vertical box. That's still giving me a number, okay. And we want to add child. There we go. So once we get our vertical box, we are going to add child. Pull that way down here. And there we go. And what this is doing, as I straighten this up, so what this is doing here, and we're actually going to bring that down so it's all happening in sequence. It doesn't matter functionally, it just makes it a little easier to read. So, for every inventory item we have, we are going to make a shop item widget, or this button for it. Oh, this button for it. Okay, we are going to update all the information in that button, and then we are going to add it to the vertical box in our shop widget. Okay, let's compile, save all that, and let's see how that has worked. So, as soon as someone walks in, we are going to create this widget, put it on the screen, and for every array item, put a button on the screen. Yeah, that looks like it should work, so we are going to pull our NPC class shop out into the world. We are going to make sure its Y location is zeroed out. Pull that up there, and yeah. Play our game. So we're going to wait for this to go past. And then once we walk right here, there we go. 5 oil for 1 gears. Look at that. We've got a button in our box. Ain't that great? Okay. And if we go to our NPC shop and we go shop inventory and add, say, a new item. So we can add a new item and say we can buy 15 oil for the cost of 2 gears. Okay, so if you buy 3 times the amount, you get a discount. Okay, so we just added that to our shop inventory, so we can hit play. Wait for this to go down. Walk across, and then once we get here, look, we now have our 2 store items. Okay. So, that is a bit to handle for one sitting. So, in our next episode, we're going to show how to make that I'm going to show how to make that actually do something so that you can press the buttons and interact with it. So, before we head off, let's just do a quick overview and some commenting as we go. So, we're going to close everything here, and let's go through our overview. So, what we've made is this class shop and 2 widgets. Shop widget and shop item. Okay? So, let's start with our new class shop. Okay? In our class shop, when a player walks into its bounding box, we're going to create a widget on the screen. That widget is, and we're going to bring that up for us, shop widget. So this nice piece of paper where it's going to show, hey, here's everything I've got in my shop. Okay? We then, after making that on the screen, look at the inventory of our shop. Okay? And for every inventory item we have, we are going to make a representative for that item and pass the info over. How many of the item you get, what the item is, how much the item costs, and what currency it costs to get the item. Okay? And then, once we put all that information into it, we are going to add that shop item widget, which is this nice little doodad we made here. We are going to add that to the vertical box. So this part of our original shop widget, this area here. Okay? And that's all we have functioning right now. So next time through, and let's just go back to our shop class shop. So we add shop widget to screen, and then this here we go C, and maybe move it over some. Make item list for each inventory item and populate variables. And there we go. Get that commented up. And yes, next time we'll look into making the button from our shop item actually do something. Okay, so we'll see you then. And yeah, until next time, hope you continue to have fun learning. Bye for now.